know what's a sucker to me? A sucker is a nigga who pick who he be fight with.
Right.
Like if you sit in and you go, oh, I'm not going because this.
I won't with him, but I'll fuck with this one.
Yeah, I think I can take him.
Right.
You want to fight the nigga you think you can beat.
50 Jackson. Now, this is somebody who is a philanthropist, rapper, artist, business person, you name it. Used to live in another city up north, but found his way down south. This is one person who is now a Houstonian. I want to thank him.
We don't capitalize and try to glorify this shit. Nah, we gonna sit here and have conversations about niggas as strong as us.
The hip-hop hierarchy in Houston was rocked by the move. 50 Cent wasn't merely moving. He was establishing a flag and claiming territory that Jas Prince had long controlled. Jas Prince had built up his street cred, business connections, and musical influence over decades, making him virtually untouchable. However, when 50 landed, he came to establish kingdom, not to pay respects. The tension was sparked by the spark. You see, Jas Prince has a reputation for having quiet authority. He uses strategic alliances, whispered discussions, and a kind of fear that doesn't require words to exert its control. But 50? He is outspoken, calculating, and not scared to reveal what others hide. Therefore, 50 didn't remain silent when rumors began to circulate that Jas Prince had connections to dubious people, allegedly even those involved in risky businesses. He doused the fire with gasoline. The heat is now growing as those TIs are supposedly being made public. 50 Cent thrives on controversy. In fact, his career was essentially based on it. His reaction tends to be more aggressive the more pressure he receives. Although Jas Prince may have controlled Houston for many years, 50 Cent takes a different tack and is attempting to completely alter the game rather than usurp the throne. The clash of two powerful individuals with entirely different strategies is what makes this feud the most dangerous, not simply the personal jabs. Jas Prince is a private chess player. 50 Cent doesn't care who watches him make a checkmate while he plays his game in front of the entire world. And now that there are more serious accusations, possible legal repercussions, and both parties' reputations at stake, the outcome might not be simply another rap feud. It might be a change in power, one that calls into question the basis of authority in the southern rap scene.
I just want to say it's an honor to be here today. I'm really excited about being in Houston. Since I've made my way out here, the Houstonians have embraced me with open arms, and it just feels like a great place for me to expand G-Unity as a foundation and continue to work with programs like HISD and Mid-Turner on all the different efforts that I can get involved in. You know, and it's exciting for me, like, to make the next level.
But 50 Cent was a danger to someone like Jas Prince. Jas Prince didn't want to be viewed as anything less than a king, even if he was a powerful music mogul. These two rap titans were engaged in a silent struggle. Their feud wasn't really intense at first. 50 Cent mainly just made fun of his rivals. Power-hungry and aware of his influence, he saw no need to be afraid of Jas Prince. It took some time for the tension between them to explode. Like monarchs from different towers, they launched subliminal shots from a distance rather than directly colliding. But those bullets got closer over time. Despite having New York roots, 50 Cent made it obvious what he intended to do when he publicly announced Houston as his new home. This had to do with business, not just the weather. The 50s empire struggled to prosper in New York due to the high taxes, but Houston provided a more hospitable economic climate and a burgeoning rap scene. Jas Prince, of course, considered this action to be an invasion of his territory. He was accustomed to musicians reaching out to him before making moves in the area because he had long been the king of Houston's rap scene. However, 50 Cent wasn't following those guidelines. He simply showed up and began setting up without checking in or requesting authorization. 50 was investing in Houston, not simply residing there. Although he didn't bow to Jas Prince, he had ambitions to make significant contributions to the community. Jas Prince felt that 50 Cent's surprise visit was the height of rudeness. Jas Prince increased the pressure once it was perceived that the absence of a proper check-in was a power move. In essence, he attempted to impose a street price for protection by sending cronies to use street-level techniques. Other rappers would have been intimidated by this kind of move, but not 50 Cent. His reputation was based on his fearlessness, and he had no intention of giving up just yet. Jas Prince didn't realize exactly who he was up against. 50 Cent had G-Unit on his side, so he wasn't just some unknown rapper from out of town. He arrived prepared and with a thorough understanding of the game. It was a statement to enter Houston without checking in, not a sign of stupidity. It was offensive to presume he was unable to manage the streets. A man with his own power base was the target of Jas Prince's attempt to intimidate him. The threats increased in volume when it became evident that intimidation was ineffective. In an effort to prevent 50 Cent from getting traction, Jas Prince attempted to declare Houston a no-fly zone that might have been sufficient to make many people retreat. However, 50 Cent doesn't follow the rules. He chose to battle on social media, where he excels. Rather than give up, 50 Cent counterattacked on Instagram using traditional trolling, captions, and memes. He made fun of Jas Prince in addition to insulting him. 50 was giggling while Jas Prince was fumbling. It wasn't all fun and games though. In Houston, 50 Cent was working hard behind the scenes to establish his business. He intended to establish a $20 million G-Unit film and television studio, which might revolutionize the entertainment scene in the city. Houston would have benefited greatly from the studio's creation of jobs, talent development, and a center for the arts. However, that vision never materialized. 50 Cent ended things despite the audacious goals and early momentum. He decided to move the project to Louisiana's Shreveport. He publicly claimed that infrastructure problems were to blame. However, it was evident to those who were paying close attention that the ongoing conflict with Jas Prince was a contributing factor.
In a news conference after the big ceremony, 50 Cent said his plans in Shreveport go beyond just G-Unit Studios.
I got to create the nightlife. I got to get into the real estate in the area to be able to facilitate what happens after big events happen.
When asked about bringing employment to the area, Jackson said it's already started.
You've seen some of the good things that Tyler Perry done in Atlanta, and you'll see this mirror that to a degree.
However, it is evident that the true problem was political rather than merely technical. Not in the typical Texas heat, the roadway pressure was increasing. 50 Cent became aware that his studio would be targeted as Jas Prince intensified his intimidation efforts. What began as online taunts and insults might have had actual repercussions. All of a sudden, a $20 million investment seemed like a risky endeavor. Jas Prince's decision to make Houston into a battlefield was detrimental to business as well as to the 50s. Online feuding is one thing, but 50 wasn't prepared to jeopardize the security of its employees, investments, and community. He chose the wiser course of action of quietly withdrawing rather than getting involved in that degree of confrontation. Just a change in plans. No news conference, no fuss. It was a strategic choice rather than a retreat. The politics become increasingly more apparent over time. 50 Cent had been warmly received in Houston. He was more than simply another rapper. His investments and presence were reviving the city. Locals were thrilled, and there was no denying 50's beneficial impact. People were starting to see that. He was a gift rather than a threat. Sylvester Turner, the mayor of Houston, was one of his staunchest supporters. The mayor was ecstatic about what 50 was doing for the community, not just that a famous person was visiting. By handing 50 Cent the city's key, a sign of respect and confidence, Turner formally made it official. But that wasn't all. Mayor Turner went one step farther and proclaimed November 24th to be 50 Cent Day in Houston. The moment became historic when the news was made during the city's Thanksgiving Day parade. It was more about legacy than it was about fame. After arriving in Houston as an outsider, 50 Cent was now greeted like a king.
To God be the glory, and so I have the privilege to stand therefore I, Sylvester Turner, Mayor of the City of Houston, hereby proudly proclaim this day, November 24th, 2022, as Curtis 50 Jackson Day in the City of Houston.
It wasn't just 50 Cent's music that Turner admired. He perceived something more profound. a man who was passionate about community and had excellent business judgment. Houston could only thrive and prosper if it had someone like 50. His youth-focused G-Unity Foundation provided guidance and hope to young people in need of a second opportunity. It was a change-making approach, not just charity. And the foundation wasn't the only one. Working in the trenches for local causes, 50 got his hands filthy. He distributed toys, started turkey drives, and gave more than $850,000 without making it become a publicity ploy. He didn't make a show of generosity or post it all over social media. It just felt right. So he did it. In Houston, that's what made him truly respected. What's even more amazing is that he raised $500,000 by auctioning off 2 bottles of his champagne. The children's charity in Houston received that money. It demonstrated that he was investing rather than merely visiting. In the end, the event where he raised that money brought in an incredible $6 million. That's a movement, not a little help. A man who provides like that is difficult to detest. It's an issue too. If you're a big record executive accustomed to running the city, particularly if that man is shifting the power dynamics. The conflict with Jas Prince began to escalate at that point. 50 was a challenge to his throne. In his opinion, there wasn't a full-scale conflict at first, but owing to Tony Yeo of G-Unit, rumors of dispute became more prevalent. Tony gave an explanation of why G-Unit never catered to Jas Prince's check-in mentality in an interview with Vlad TV. He said that G-Unit was not a rap entourage but rather a military unit. They took care of one another and didn't require protection from others. That was exactly the opposite of what Jas Prince wanted from Houston's rappers. The cost of failing to check in, turning becomes a target. Without holding back, Tony referred to the check-in system as extortion. It's that simple. Pay up or be robbed. This was traditional mafia politics encased in a contemporary sector. It was about power, not respect for one another. Jas Prince had been portrayed as a protector for a long time, but that fog was coming off. His image did not frighten G-Unit. Instead of bowing to a street monarch, they were there to construct something. Because they were afraid, many artists participated in the check-in game. Neither were 50 Cent and his group. They revealed it rather than merely avoiding it. They exposed the true hustle and saw through the rhetoric. They said it was about fear, intimidation, and pressure rather than respect. Although such a type of hold would have been effective in the 1990s, we live in a different time. People are becoming aware of the distinction between manipulation and leadership. Even Pop Smoke's terrible destiny was mentioned by Tony Yeo. According to reports, the rapper checked in but died nonetheless. What kind of protection was that? Then, the narrative sparked debate regarding the true value of Jas Prince's alleged influence. This type of respect game is harmful and out of date, Tony made plain. There was complicity in the hush surrounding it. Furthermore, G-Unit wasn't being silent. They directly questioned an industry standard. Jas Prince dominated Houston's rap scene for many years. You had to pay your respects or pay the price. However, to 50 Cent, that sounded more like a shakedown than a tradition. He noticed a mafia model dressed in hip-hop attire. He refused to comply because of this. Additionally, you create enemies when you resist authority. However, 50 didn't merely push back. He used his own vision to push forward. Jas Prince jumped on social media in an attempt to preserve his reputation. He presented himself as a hero in the community. 50, meanwhile, continued to put in genuine effort without looking for recognition. Jas Prince needs influence. 50 Cent won people over. That distinction was not overlooked. People started to show up for the city on the streets. Jas Prince appeared worse the more he attempted to rewrite the story, particularly next to a person of 50. Despite being in his 60s, Jas Prince's strategies were still immature. Rather than change, he intensified his use of fear-based control. The new school, meanwhile, desired impact, honesty, and transparency. That was brought by 50. The neighborhood took note. The rules of the game had already altered, but Jas Prince continued to play by them. His impact was obviously waning, but it wasn't going away, particularly when more tales began to surface. TakeOff was one of those stories. TakeOff died following a dice game when he and Quavo refused to play the check-in game. Jas Prince didn't say much. His quiet was a powerful statement. Following a game of dice, Duke the jeweler was also robbed and killed. It was impossible to overlook the pattern. Not only were the street politics brutal, they were lethal. They were also bringing the city to its knees. 50 Cent lived with hope, while Jas Prince clung to fear. Despite his imperfections, he was open and honest. He was playing a constructor instead of a mafia boss, generating income without using backdoor tactics or robbing others. Houston saw the change. Fear dominated one man. The other developed via action. It was obvious from that kind of contrast that 50 Cent was here to improve the city. 50 Cent isn't the only troll on Instagram anymore. He is reportedly going to great lengths to reveal Jas Prince's whole business. According to reports, he is gathering receipts and assembling evidence for true accountability, not for show. We're talking about more than simply reputation if this blows up. We're discussing potential legal repercussions. This might develop into something far more significant than a music feud. The federal government might take notice. These days, it's about two mindsets rather than just two men. One that uses intimidation and is mired in the past. The other uses empowerment to press forward. Beyond being a rapper, 50 Cent aspires to be more. He aspires to be a change agent. And he's aware that exposing the old king's deceit is the only way to succeed him. The match was lit by Tony Yayo. It appears like 50 Cent is now prepared to destroy everything.